Oh, all right. Hello. Welcome to my podcast. I'm Sarah and I'm interviewing Sara Moses. So excited to have her here today. So, my podcast is Stronger Than You Think. And it was really fun. I was just telling Sara Moses about my podcast name, and she was so excited and just about to share a story. So, I said, Stop, let's record. Let's go.
Yeah,
So, tell
yeah.
me, tell
And
me.
you know what else is blowing my mind? Besides, what's it called? Stronger than you think?
Yeah,
I'm thinking because I'm stronger than you think, but I'm also stronger than than I look,
excellent.
right? Like I think sometimes
Excellent.
in life we underestimate what someone can handle, and
All day.
I've now found that that's a good thing to be underestimated.
Oh, I like that. Tell me more. Tell me why it's a good thing to be underestimated.
You know, I want to give attribution where it's due. And to the woman who, and then here I go, not knowing where to give it. You'll know she's a blonde lady who worked for the CIA, and she wrote a book called Bulletproof. Do you know who
Oh,
I'm talking?
yes, yes.
Yeah. So she talks about this, and I think that also the woman, look at me, I'm so bad. I'm just gonna be bad, you guys. I'm bad with names. The
Fine.
woman who's married to um the funny guy, he owns school now. Look at me. I'm like,
It's
uh,
okay.
funny name. Okay. She said so many women complain about not being paid as much, or, the glass ceiling and all this. And
Yeah.
she said some of them complain about, not being appreciated or being underestimated. And she said
Mhm.
that's a superpower. When you're underestimated, when people don't know to expect, it's kind of cool because you're entering either a meeting or a business negotiation or whatever you want to, whatever you're involved in, partnership, and you're coming in with strengths that are sort of superpowers because people aren't expecting it from you. So I just think that it's good because I'd rather people expect less from me and me deliver more.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and I would I would like it if people think that I'm not as intelligent as I am, or I'm not as smart or as savvy or whatever they want to assume about me, because that can only be in my favor. What do you think about that? What is
I agree with you. We just met in real life in person just this last week in the middle of a hurricane in the dark. And I didn't know anything about you, and you sort of appeared quiet. So I see what you mean. And then the things that you said were just so
Oh,
amazing and good, and just like your insight was fantastic. And so I don't feel like I underestimated you. I just didn't know you. And because your demeanor is quiet, I think that you can have you just I think it is a superpower for you. So that's very well put. Very
oh, that's so
cool.
good. Thank you. I didn't know I was perceived as quiet. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, for me, but it wasn't a hurricane in the dark.
Yeah.
So like maybe maybe it was, the surroundings and
Yeah.
everything. But I really appreciated everything that you had
Oh,
to say. And I
oh.
love that you are the founder of the Do It Now community. Can
Hmm.
you want to talk about that a little bit? Tell me
Yes.
why do it now? I love
Yes.
community. That's so like
Yes.
warm and inviting.
Yeah. I had a lot of really intense things happen to me, and it's not like I had an easy childhood either. I had some very challenging things happen in my childhood. I had parents who um both suffered from I like to use the term emotional wellness issues.
Okay.
It was prevalent in my family. There were three children, and so at a young age, I was a caretaker, taking care of my
Mhm.
parents, taking care of my siblings, and but then when I went away to college, I had a great time at college, and I was sort of one of those people who was like, "Oh, wow, I get to have my childhood now, right? I get to have
Oh,
this amazing fun time," and it was carefree, and I loved studying and learning, and things seemed to go very smoothly for a couple of decades. And then, as life has it, it will throw you some curves. And about 10 years ago, just a bunch of really, really hard things happened all at once. I found out from my husband of 18 years, and we had three daughters, that he wanted a divorce. It came very much as a surprise, caught me very off guard. I ended up losing my dad during lockdown, and it was a time when they weren't letting you visit people. So I didn't get to see my siblings, and I didn't get to visit my dad for the last 4 months of his life, which was very painful. And then I lost my brother in April of 2022 to a very tragic accident, and was sort of trying to survive all these things when 9 months later, I lost my cousin, also at age 49, who's more like my best friend. I lost him to a tragic accident. And it was just like, have you ever found yourself, at a place where, I mean, now I sort of understand the term rock bottom. I didn't know what it meant
Mm.
before.
Yeah.
But now I've thought about it, when you're like digging in dirt and then all of a sudden you hit a rock, like there's no more, you're not going anywhere farther. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just all these things happen, and there was a choice to be made. I was gonna let this, sort of, I mean, not to sound dramatic, but I'll be dramatic, be the end of me, or I could
Yeah.
decide that this was going to be the rebirth of me. And how was I now going to come up? There was only one way. I had daughters watching me, and I was very aware that they were watching me to see if mom's okay, then we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah. But it gives you incentive, and it gives you
Yeah.
motivation to do what I term, I just left no stone unturned, and I was going to find anything and everything that could help me. And so I went
Wow.
along this journey, and it involved many things, but what came out of it was this new woman who was more confident, more comfortable in her skin than she'd ever been, more finding more joy, finding more vivacious, going after my dreams. And I thought, I want to kind of share this story with other people.
Yeah.
And it's about doing it now. It's like, do it now, do it now, do it now, because tomorrow's not promised to us.
Right.
And I thought, let's create this community where we can have discussions. Maybe we can inspire each other, learn from each other. Yeah, so that's how this all came about, the Do It Now community.
That's beautiful. It's so fascinating how we can it's really a choice, isn't it, to arrive at a beautiful place from trauma and tragedy. We have that choice. Every single one of us has the choice. We can in your bio, it talks about not just surviving, but thriving. And thriving, I mean, with babies, many people know there's a syndrome called failure to thrive. And if they're not loved, they die. They just die. They give up. But as an adult, we have more control, maybe is the right thing over that. And so I love that you made the choice to thrive, even when it probably seemed quite impossible. I mean, you sort of zoomed through the story of all of these tragedies, and any one could have stopped anyone very, very strong in their tracks. And you chose, once you hit that rock, like, well, like I have choices. I have my daughters, and I want to show them how
Yeah.
to be. I mean, the word I heard, and I don't think you said it, but was how to be strong. I mean, you
Hmm.
were a powerful, strong
Yeah.
mentor for your daughters to show them mom can do this. I
Mhm.
am stronger than I look. I'm stronger than maybe people think. So what a beautiful example
Yeah.
of
And
that.
I love you just sharing that story about the failure to thrive with babies, because I've never connected the dots. But because you said it's if they're not loved,
Yeah.
I finally learned about self-love.
Yeah.
I stopped looking for love in other places and other people, because the gift of the lockdown and isolation was given to me, and I was all by myself during all these really challenging, hard times too.
Yeah.
That it was, I finally learned that my first love was supposed to be me.
Hmm.
And I didn't know that, but I learned it then. And it's so interesting that you told that story, because I'm like, wow, yeah, I think maybe my failure to thrive was because I didn't love myself the way I should have. I was always loving on other people and wanting to support their dreams and help their dreams and I was a people pleaser and codependent and all the names that you can throw around. But I really like that you shared that with me. Thank you so
Of
much.
course, of course. I noticed it, I thought of it also because a little bit later on in your bio, like something that you talk about as well is that you can find beauty even in grief. And do you want to expound on that a little bit? I feel like you've talked about it a little bit in
Yeah.
the hard
Yeah.
things you went through, but beauty in grief sounds like such an oxymoron, sounds so opposite.
It is. And, there's someone in our shared community who talks about the hidden gifts of loss.
Yeah.
And it, it's true. And it comes down to making a decision to look for them. So I have this thing that I talk about when I'm out speaking, and it's that I had a decision to make. Because I had been down on the foot of my bed praying to God.
Yeah.
I wanted understanding. I wanted an explanation. I wanted to know why all these things had happened.
Hmm.
And what I heard back was there isn't going to be an explanation. There will not be an understanding. You will have radical acceptance, and now you have a decision to make. And I think that way all the time. I have a decision to make. So I wake up every day looking for the good, finding the good, and I want to help other people find it too, because you find what you're looking for,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so the hidden gift in this is that I think I had spent many decades of my life thinking that things were happening to me. And that sort of cliche now, but let's just say it's because it's true,
Yeah. Say it. Yeah.
happening for me, not to me.
Exactly.
And the hidden gift in all of this was that I can wake up every single day. And if I want to look for things like the economy's bad, or it's hard to find a job, or it's high, it's hard to get wealthy, or people are struggling, I will find what is I will find what is the word that I'm blanking on right now? Oh, not support, or I'll find evidence of that. Yeah, that's what I'm
Excellent. Yeah.
sorry, I'm old, so you'll just have to go with me, my old brain.
You're
But if
wonderful.
I wanna wake up looking for that the economy's good, that there are opportunities, that health, my health is good, my family's good, everything's like, I will find evidence of that. So people need to decide, what do you wanna find today? What do you wanna go looking for? Because 'Cause you're gonna find it. So,
Absolutely.
right? What do you think?
Yeah, so much so. I do these little things. I call them walkie-talkies. I go on these morning walks. That's my time. That's my
Yeah,
me time. I'm
yeah.
outside in nature and I'm walking and I'm sweaty and it's amazing. And one of the things I kept thinking about was what you focus on, you find, which is the same thing that you've been
Yeah.
saying. And it's really, really fascinating in energy work. Often people will say, well, I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be like my mom. But
Mhm.
everybody knows if you say, don't think about an elephant, you're thinking about an elephant. You weren't before. You never were. I don't think anybody was ever thinking about an elephant. Or if you
Right.
say, don't look over here, we look and then we
Right.
go, oh, wait, I wasn't supposed to. So you absolutely find the thing that you're focusing on. And so whatever you're repeating over and over in your mind, the things that,
Mhm.
if your stomach hurts and all you think about is my stomach hurts, of course that's what you're going to feel. But if you think, wow, my fingers feel good in my hand and my wrist and my arm and my
Mm.
elbow, and there's so many other things to think about that
Mhm.
do feel good. And so you're able to focus more on that positive. So I love that you look for that. And it just change everything? Like it doesn't change
Everything.
one thing.
It
It just
changes
changes
everything.
everything.
Everything. And what you were just talking about too is gratitude. And
Yes.
gratitude saved my life. It really, really did. It was the one thing that I knew I could count on all the time. I created what I call my emotional first aid kit. So
Okay.
because so many things start happening, I knew I had to have things that I could try and see if they worked. So like hiking,
Yeah.
journaling, acupuncture, uh, calling a friend, reading a book, these things that I
Yeah.
knew could calm me down or give me peace or whatever. But the number one thing was gratitude. And when I went to sleep at night, because I started to have insomnia. I don't know if you or any of your
Okay.
listeners have had this when they're stressed out. I
Oh
couldn't
yeah.
fall asleep, or I would wake up in the middle of the night. And a friend had given me a book on meditation, but I couldn't get no thoughts out of my mind. So there were going to be thoughts. I thought, well, I'm going to be the boss of those thoughts, and they're going to be gratitude thoughts. So I would go to sleep and I would only be allowing myself to think thoughts of gratitude. Can I tell you, if I didn't fall asleep before you know it, I slept the whole
Oh,
night through. It completely changed my life. I was getting sleep, I was getting rest. And then what I would do is I would use it during the day. If I was going into a meeting or something and I was starting to get stressed out, I would just like close my eyes and take 5 minutes and I would just think of everything I could be grateful for. It changes you. Like it changes your, what is that? You would know more about the
well, it
science.
changes your vibration. Yeah, it changes your vibration. So when we talk about like anxiety or nervousness, like you almost start to
Mhm.
vibrate at that like, "Ugh."
Oh,
But then when you talk about calm and peace and gratitude, your body will just let go. So you were quite literally changing the frequencies and the vibrations in your body so that
mm,
you could attract also those same things, because the more anxious we are, we attract anxious and anger and frustration. We just attract that. And so
yeah,
with your gratitude, that was what you were attracting. You were releasing all the growth,
yeah,
so you weren't attracting it anymore. That's just beautiful that you learned that. I'm sure it
yeah,
wasn't easy. It's not always easy to learn that, but
yeah.
it worked so well.
But and yeah, and it's a decision. I mean, I want to talk about that word a lot because it's
Yes.
everything. Like I learned to do things too that if I was standing at the kitchen washing the dishes and like the suds were feeling good on my hands and the warm water, even the sensory stuff, to try to be in the present moment and think about how lucky we are to have, hot water to take a shower, warm water to wash our hands or our dishes, like that I had eyesight so that I could see my children's artwork, that I could hear their voice. I mean, just the present moment, what can I turn around and be grateful for? And it'll blow your mind. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like exciting and mind-blowing, and the gratitude thing is something that I can't stop talking about. So, yeah, and
Well, and it grows. Like what you were saying, it just grows. Like you think of one thing and then you think of another, which leads to another, which leads to another. And like what a beautiful thing to create, is just this gratitude tree or garden or whatever with all of this gratitude,
Mhm,
because the opposite is true, right? If we focus on anger or hatred, like we can
mhm,
grow that gnarly looking whatever as well. And that doesn't feel
mhm,
good, but it gets also bigger and bigger. So I
mhm.
love that you would create just such beautiful things that would just blossom off of another thing and another thing. And it would grow. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel so much gratitude. I'm almost overwhelmed by the gratitude. And it's a fun practice to do it
Yes,
when you are grieving, when things don't
yes,
seem to be going well. I
yes.
apologize. You were going to say something, and
No, I'm loving
I was
what you're
thinking,
saying. It's because it's so smart what you're saying, because you're saying, like, use that muscle in the most challenging time,
yeah,
and it'll grow stronger, right? Because it's a muscle, and it's talk about being a strong human being. If you're a human being who can, in moments of struggle or crisis or trauma, turn to gratitude, like, to me, that's the greatest strength that you can
yeah,
show, right?
yeah, I agree. That's so neat. So I have another question, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
So you do a lot of things. You're a speaker, you're a podcast host, you're a mindset coach,
Yeah.
you're a trainer, you have a master's in psychology, you've been through struggles and grief and challenges. If you were to say I'll give you two options, either your favorite thing that you do or your proudest accomplishment of what you have overcome. And perhaps you want
Mhm.
to share them both.
I might share them both. I think I gave already the you asked the favorite thing that I do would be the practice of gratitude. That's
Okay, awesome.
easily hands
Just
down,
hands down.
and
Nice.
it wins everything. The Did you ask what my proudest accomplishment?
I did.
I'm gonna try to get through this without getting emotional because usually I do. My proudest accomplishment is raising 3 daughters who are strong and smart and kind, but they're emotionally intelligent. And that,
Awesome.
coming from my family and my background and, the struggles in the history of my lineage and the people that we have lost who have, um, I don't use the words that they have taken their lives, but they've given their lives away,
Okay.
due to emotional, wellness issues. The fact that I've raised 3 daughters who have really, like, their heads on their shoulders, and the reason I say that is because it's not just that, because I don't know how it happened really, coming from me, like, where I came from, you'd be like, "I was raised by wolves, like, how did I raise these daughters?" But it makes me really proud because I also realize that I have broken a generational curse, and it ends with my so I lost my brother and I lost my cousin and I've lost a lot of other family members before that, but it stopped with me. And I think that's one of the reasons I went and got my master's in psychology, was because I wanted to understand everything that had gone on before. I wanted to understand, the people around me, because I was seeing people that I work with, friends. I mean, I think all of us have someone in our lives, or we know someone at work or something that struggles with, emotional wellness. And I wanted to know every different way that you could try to help somebody. And it became more important to me recently when I see so many people on their phones all the time, because I think one of the keys to curing all that is connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're having less and less connection, how do we address that? How do we I'm sort of curious what your thoughts are on that too. But just to end that, because I say that out loud too, because it's for my daughters too, to know that that is not in their generation. They are
Yeah.
level-headed, emotionally, very, intelligent, strong, even street smart. I mean, all these things that are like, I don't know how it happened. Like, obviously, it skips a generation, right? But somehow it happened, and I think it was by being intentional. I always had my eye on that, that needed to be different, for my children.
Mm-hmm.
And, uh yeah, so I'm curious what you think about this disconnection in the world right now, and how we fix that, and because that ties into what you're talking about having strength, because I don't really think we can be super strong if we don't have connection with other people. Because
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Go ahead and finish your
Well,
thought.
I wanted to see what you think about that. Like, how do we answer that issue?
Well, I agree with you entirely. I mean, I'm the mean mom who says, put your phones down and you're gonna do something. I don't care if you're bored. It's important to be bored or to connect with people. And it's funny. So we moved to Florida just about 3 years ago now,
Mhm.
and I have very social children. They're super social. And one of their favorite things to do, my husband works for Disney, and one of their favorite things to do when we show up at Disney is there are these buttons. I don't know if you know this. There's like a happy birthday button, and there's like a I'm celebrating button. And my kid's favorite thing to do is to say congratulations, because it'll say like we're celebrating 50 years, or happy birthday Sarah, for example. And so they'll
Oh,
say happy birthday or congratulations. And
oh,
it's so fascinating to see the shock on people's faces that somebody noticed me and said, and they'll turn and look and thank you. And some will be embarrassed because they were noticed, but that connection, that personal, and my kids wouldn't notice if they were on their phones. I
right?
I say we're out, we're at the baseball field, we're at the softball field, put your phones
Mhm,
away, we're outside. And they talk to
mhm,
people and they make friends, and they're socially and emotionally mature because of that connection. If you're always on a phone sending emojis or,
mhm.
letters that are supposed to mean something, and I know we all do. I know
Yeah,
it's part
yeah.
of our culture and it's okay, and we're grateful to be able to connect with people in other countries and far away that we couldn't otherwise. Obviously,
Mm,
that's beautiful, but that the false connection that we have on our devices is very sad. It's really destroying a lot of people. So I agree entirely. We need more of this face to face, and Zoom is beautiful for when we can't have the actual connection. And one of the things I didn't mention in Failure to Thrive is it's also touch. There's a study, and
mm,
I don't remember who it was done by, but you may have known this. You may know this
mhm,
from your master's. It was all these bunnies, and there was this study,
mhm,
and they were being injected with all of this medicine, And there was one group of bunnies, all the same medicine, all the same whatever. One
Mhm.
group of bunnies was great, super healthy. They were doing wonderful while all the other ones were dying. And they were like, it is literally the same. Like one wasn't a placebo that was doing better. Like it was the same stuff. And they
Mm.
found out that the reason these bunnies were surviving was because someone was going their administrator, I don't know, whoever puts in the medicine, was petting the bunnies, was holding them, was loving them, was physically touching them. And that was the difference.
Yes.
And so, what you're talking about with connection, that physical touch, the eye
Yes.
to eye, the heart to heart is just
Yes.
massive.
Yes. There's another similar study to do with humans who have had heart surgery, and they will tell someone, and actually I had a friend who was told this, an older gentleman, and the doctor said to him, "Are you in a loving, affectionate relationship? Because if you're not, you need to get in one before you have the heart surgery, because we find that our patients who don't have affection and love and they have a very short lifespan after the heart surgery."
Whoa.
Yeah, I'll find the study and send it to you, but like the people who have touch and loving and hugging and holding and affection and a loving relationship who've had heart surgery, they live like decades longer. And think about this. It's like the heart,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's very, yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
It really is. And gratitude often, when we speak gratitude, I find many people, this is where their hand goes when they speak about
Um,
gratitude. It's very much a heart
Yeah.
emotion. It's something that we feel when we feel I mean, just talking about it, my heart feels differently. Saying the word gratitude and putting my hand over my heart, showing love and touch, it just
Mm,
changes our physiology. It
yeah.
changes how we act, how we react,
Yeah.
and it just changed everything. That's such a beautiful study. I didn't know that. I know when I had my last baby, he was in the NICU because he was a big baby and he was having a hard time breathing. And I went in and they had him kind of hooked up and I said I really wanted to nurse. And it was great because the nurse in there was kind of a hippie. And I say that because she told me she was. So that's why I feel like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
okay saying that. She's like, I believe babies do much better when they're with their mama. And she's like, you want a nurse, right? I said, I absolutely do. And she said, okay,
Oh,
I'm gonna leave him hooked up to some things just to make sure that there's not a problem. As
right.
soon as I brought him to me, his vitals were perfect. She's like, he just needed his mom. So that touch, that heart to heart connection, that he knew I loved him, and that was what he needed. He was in me and we had this connection, and then all of a sudden he was out of me and he was like free falling. He needed me again. And so just having that connection, it's so much more powerful what our hand can do. We can, the intention behind our movement, if we move to give someone have, like, this is a really fun experiment. I don't know if you've ever tried this with your girls, but it may be kind of fun. Not any of the mean stuff, but if like you come at them like to tickle them, they'll
Mhm.
respond different than if you come at them to give them a hug, or if
Mm.
you walk to them like you're sad, how they will react.
Oh,
It's a very beautiful experiment. I have never seen it misfire
oh,
ever. Just because people can feel that, you immediately get this energetic connection that happens
yeah.
and
So good.
things change. It's absolutely incredible.
Oh, so beautiful. Such strength in your story. I mean, I had chills when you were telling me about it,
Oh,
and that you had the instincts to go do that. I think a lot of people would have been, afraid to speak up and say something and ask, and that's something that I talk a lot about, is to question everything that's being told to us and ask to, break the rules. I follow to a little bit so I don't mess anybody up. Like if I've been
right.
told like perfect example, if I've been told at a speaking event, you have 21 minutes, I follow the 21 minutes, but I'll see
Right.
sometimes some of the speakers are just staying up at the front, and I watch them all, and then there's this whole long way you could walk and walk inside the tables, and I'm like, nobody told us we couldn't.
Yeah.
And I just give that invitation to people in your life in other ways, in other places. As long as you haven't been told you couldn't do it, just assume you can. Just go for
Yeah.
it. Change it
Right.
up. Do it now,
Yeah.
do it now, do it now. Like that is what I want to tell everyone. Go do it. Go make that phone call, send that email, sign up for that thing you've been wanting to do. Just take action towards it, and you will be amazed at how fun your life starts to be. Practice saying yes. Practice taking action on the things you've been waiting on doing. I don't believe in that thought process at all, like, of, let's just say you wanna do something and someone in your group says, "Well, we can sign up next time, or we can do it next time, or we can" no. No, 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 no. It came into your mind for a reason now. Do it now, do it now, do it now. You don't know if tomorrow will be here, and you don't know if these people around you will be here. So, okay, that's my rant.
I love your rant. And I mean, I'm not positive, but I think every single time you said do it now, it's do it now, do it now, do it now. You say it in threes. And in the Bible, when something is super emphasized, it's three times.
Oh, I didn't know.
When, yeah, one of my favorites is it'll say like whoa or whoa, whoa or whoa, whoa, whoa. And that's
Oh,
the biggest. So you are so passionate. It's not just do it now, it's do it now, do it now, do it now. I can just hear you. It's almost like you're pleading to people
oh,
to
man.
stop waiting. And not only stop waiting, but do it now, do it now, do it now. The emphasis can't
Yeah.
be bigger for you.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful message to be shouting from the treetops. Do it
I
now, do it now, do it now. Love now. Show gratitude now. Live now. Oh,
yeah.
it's just so beautiful. I
Thank
love I love your passion. Um, and you're a speaker. What do you often speak on? Is this what you speak on and is doing it now?
Recently, I do speak to, business groups about taking action. Surprise,
Oh.
surprise. And I do speak to organizations about overcoming grief and about, sort of some of the things we've talked about today, finding the, hidden gifts in your story. When you think it's the end, you'd be surprised to find out that it's just the beginning. And so for anyone out there who's going through anything really, really, really dark, really hard, really struggling, my story for you is that if it feels like you can't handle it and you've hit rock bottom, it's because you have. And so start looking up. And if you think you're in the darkness, it might be because you're the light.
Wow. If you think you're in the darkness, it might be because you're in the light. You are the
You
light.
are the light. So just start thinking of yourself that way and think, I need to be the light for other people. A lot of the reasons why I didn't do any of the things I've just started doing the last year and a half is because I was insecure, didn't have confidence. Like I said, I was supporting, my husband had an acting career and my kids had all their dreams. And who was I to
Yeah.
want anything? And who was I to, shine my light bright? Because, people would be like, who do you think you are? In my mind, right? I'm thinking,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
and then I realized, no, I'm supposed to be the light. I went over, turned on that dimmer switch really bright because
Yeah.
I'm gonna light the way for other people. And if this whole stupid thing that I spent my life worrying about what other people was thinking about me, oh my gosh, you get over that real quick when you don't know if you don't have tomorrow. So
Yeah.
if there's things I want to do, and at the end of my life, I'm gonna have not done them because I was worried about what other people think. It's like, it doesn't even make sense when you actually say it out loud, you know what I mean? It's like, these aren't their dreams. They're not
No.
paying my mortgage. They're not raising my kids. They're not anything.
Yeah.
And I actually came up with this fun term. So, because I used to think, and I share this with people that I'm helping with their speaking, because a lot of people have a fear of what other people think.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's like the number one fear, I think, besides sharks and fear of heights and is what other people think. Well,
Yeah.
so I thought about it and I'm trying to tell people the audience is on your side. They want you to do well.
Yeah.
And if they're not on your side, they're not your people. But let's say they were going to say, "Oh, Sarah's so bossy," or "Sarah's so lame," or "Sarah's so goofy," or "Sarah's so this." I was like, I started to call them the so-so people.
Ah,
Who wants to be so-so? I don't
nice.
care about so-so people. Those aren't my people. My people hear my voice. They're there. All of the speakers that go and they show up, or they have a podcast, or they have a masterclass, People show up because they want you to do well. They want to learn from you. They want to have a transformation. So just relax into it. Have fun. Know they're on your side. How do you show up when you know people are on your side? Different,
Oh,
right?
so different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited and confident. And yeah, like I've so got this.
Right? So I just
Yeah.
want people to know that, to stop listening to the lies that your thoughts or your mind have told you that people are judging you. They're not. And if they are, they're not your people. So don't worry about them. They're on your side. They so want you to do well. They probably don't want you to be boring. That's the only thing that might come across their mind, right? Other than that,
Exactly.
they're on your side. They want you to do well. So have fun, relax, enjoy, like you said, So
Yeah, you make such a good point. We were at the ocean just or at the beach. I don't know what it's called in Florida. I grew up, it was the beach in Oregon, it's the shore in Jersey. I don't know what it is in Florida, but whatever, wherever we
yeah,
were.
right.
And I know there are so many people who won't even go to the beach because their body doesn't look the way they think it should look. But it's not even that, it's more than that. They don't go because their body doesn't look the way they think that other people think they should look. And the truth of the matter is, I cannot tell you, besides one person there that day who looked like a friend, and that was all I noticed was, oh, he looks like our friend, and we told him about it. I
Hmm.
can't tell you what one other person looked like. I can't tell you what their body looked like. I can't tell you what color their hair was. But I
Mm,
can tell you the smiles I saw and the laughter that I heard and the feelings I felt. And so often we are held back, like you said, by this thing that isn't even real because nobody cares. Like it's such a mean thing to say, like nobody cares about you, but they
yeah,
kind of don't. Like when you're driving in a car, when you're, I don't know, you've been driving and you've seen somebody like being crazy or
yeah,
talking to themselves and you notice it in the moment and then it's gone because we're busy thinking about everything else we have to do. So I love that you do it now, do it now, do it now because who cares? Even if somebody judges you, we
yeah,
don't even like everybody. There's people that I'm not going to hang out with. So it's
right.
fine if those people don't hang out with me. Those so-so people can go hang out with the other so-so people,
Yeah,
right?
right. Good. Yeah. And also I think that if we're not going outside our comfort zone and doing things uncomfortable and if I'm not going out and dancing really badly on the dance floor, then I'm not living my life.
No. Yeah.
I've got to go. I'm a horrible dancer, but I love music and I love dancing. So I have just decided that's my job to entertain people on the dance floor. And for them, that's my job for them to be like, oh my God, she's such a bad dancer, but she's having a really good time. Maybe I can go do that. See, it's like an invitation. So
Yeah.
I kind of take something that could be a negative and I reframe it. I'm really good at reframing things. So I took how bad I am as a dancer and I turned it into this gift that I can show other people. Stacey Lauren talks about this, how she's not good at a lot of things. So it's like permission for other people to not be good at it, right?
Right. Right.
We need
Yeah.
to start looking at the things that we're not good at as like a gift for other people to go live their lives. Just go to the beach, like you said. Just start enjoying, finding joy, having gratitude, connecting with other people. That's really the strength of life, right?
Absolutely. And isn't it funny that we put this really weird idea on ourselves that we need to be perfect when quite honestly, I don't know about you, but if I hang out with somebody who's too perfect, I don't really want to hang out with them anymore. Like I really, really, not that I want anybody to fail, but I love seeing them be human. Like
Yes.
that is just, I was at this master class today and I was watching and the link that the lady dropped didn't work. And
Mm,
she's like, "Oh, let me fix this." Like she didn't freak out. Nobody was like throwing things at her. And she's like, "Oh, now it's fixed." And it was just like all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, cool. Like we can hang out together because everything you do isn't perfect."
yes.
Isn't it weird that we don't often give ourselves that permission? But
Yeah.
but that's what we want from other people. We want the humanity when we meet
Yes.
someone we idolize or somebody who seems perfect and then they're a little bit human like us. They
Yes.
don't drop in our view. We connect more, don't we? We're
Oh,
able to have that connection.
oh, what's the saying? Preaching to the choir. I love that authenticity piece is what I always, always, always speak to my, whether they're my life coaching clients, my mindset coaching or my speaking clients. Authenticity is the secret sauce to everything. And especially in this day where everyone's all worried about AI, guess what? Your authentic self showing up is going to knock all of that out of the way, because you can't compete with that. Nobody has our story. Our unique story
Yeah.
is so unique to us, and other people want to hear it because they haven't heard it from anyone else, and they haven't heard it the way we tell it. They haven't seen someone show up the way that we show up. I love that you talk about that, because it's authenticity is what draws people to us. It took me a long time to learn this. I spent my whole life trying to be what I thought other people wanted, and that they would like me if I was this or that. I wore a mask, if I dressed a certain way, if I was a certain weight, if
Mhm.
I this, da, 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 da. Come to find out, that repels people.
Right?
It repels people. And when
Yeah.
I show up as my authentic self with all my warts, this is who I am, it draws my people towards me. Doesn't
Mhm.
draw everyone towards me. It draws my people towards me.
And that's who you want. You want
Yes.
your people. And
Yes.
isn't it beautiful that I mean, you're really speaking abundance mindset. Isn't it beautiful
Mm-hmm.
that there is enough of everyone and everything for
Mm-hmm.
everyone to have enough and more
Mm-hmm.
with just enough left over for everyone? Like there's such an abundance, beautiful life that we can have if that's what we focus on, if that's what we choose to find, if we focus on that gratitude, that just our life can be so incredible if
Mm-hmm.
we let it be, if we
Mm-hmm.
focus on that, if we do it now, do it now, do it now, if we make the decision,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just it's so beautiful. And I feel like what you do just also ties in so well with my podcast, with the name of it. You're stronger than you think. That's one of I
Mhm.
love seeing this doesn't sound nice.
Mm.
I'm going to say it how I was going to say it, and you're going to
Yeah,
understand what I mean. But
yeah.
I love when people think they aren't strong. I teach group fitness, and one of the things people will say often is, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And I'm like, but you can, because you're telling me you can't. And if you're telling me, then you are breathing. And at the beginning of a class, they'll say, hey, I haven't worked out in a long time. I'm going to probably leave. Here's why. And I say, that's fine. You just do what you can. And I watch them, and they always stand over there. I don't know. That's the magic spot. And at the end of class, they'll come up to me and they're like, I stayed. And they got to prove to themselves that they were stronger, that the really scared person, the person at the bottom who dug through the sand and got to the rock, that's the person who then turned around when you think you're your weakest. You're so strong. You'd
Yeah.
gone through all of these things and you
Yes.
chose to be grateful then. You chose to be an example when you could have not. You could have
Mhm.
said it's too hard because it was hard. We're not
Mhm.
saying what you went through wasn't hard and you just said, "Oh, everything's fine." You made a decision to look for the gratitude and the positive, and that was
Mhm.
what changed.
Mhm.
So, thank you for sharing your story of how much stronger you are than
Yeah.
maybe you realized at the time. If you worked so long on being everything for everyone and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, this is
Yeah.
not working out for me.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And just the story about how it's a decision and it can happen very quickly. And I definitely reached out and found mentors and coaches and people who, I really talk about that a lot too, because I think we need to have people around us who are guides and coaches, who have done what we want to do and they're doing it well, because it saves time. And time is everything in this
Absolutely.
lifetime. Time is more than money. Time is more than everything if someone can save you time. So yeah, I really just love the idea of what you're talking about on your podcast. I hope I can come back again sometime.
Oh, you absolutely will. This has been so fun. So I will put all of the ways people can get a hold of you and contact you and reach out to you in the notes. But if there
Great.
was one place that is your favorite place to have people go to find out about you, where would you send them?
Well, I do have a website, saramoses.com,
Okay.
SARA, just SARA spelled in your SARAH. We got
I
we got
am.
together.
Yep.
So SarahMoses.com, and on there they'll find all my places where they can find me. But yeah, I just have really appreciated talking with you about this subject because I think it's a great conversation, and I hope people keep talking about it forever, strength
Oh,
and
absolutely.
gratitude and taking the hard things and having them make us stronger. And it's a good conversation. Yeah.
It's that hero's journey. It's the story we all love to watch, but don't particularly love to participate in. And that's where the heroes are made and the
Yeah.
power comes from. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Sarah. I loved having you.
Thank you so much for having me on. And again, like I said, I'm just going to invite myself on a second time.
Good. We'll do it. I love it. It's a date. All
Date.
right.
It's a date.
Have a
Okay.
super blessed day.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye.